Good evening and welcome to Superscreen News at 6, reaching you live from Lagos. I am Olamide Onga. Many thanks for joining us. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, says the Senate is committed to implementing the 35% action which sees the inclusion of women in appointments and elective positions in government. Saraki, who disclosed this when he received a delegation of the Conference of Female Parliamentarians and Nigerians at the Senate House, said there is urgent need for a paradigm shift that will give room for women participation in the country's politics.
I know one of the key issues, of course, is the gender equality bill, that I know you will have had it quicker and faster than this. But I believe when these kind of major issues are being done, sometimes it looks as if it is taking longer than expected. But I believe that at the end of the day, it's the result that matters. And I think it's important that we ensure that every part of the country has that understanding. I always say that in legislation, sometimes, as you all know, you might go in with 10, 15 requests in a bill, or sometimes you negotiate and see, because it doesn't begin and end there. It's something you do in steps and strides. Get where we get to a point, and I think everybody is on board on this issue of gender affirmation of 35%, and we must strive to see that that happens in both in the area of appointment and elective as much as possible.
Reacting on this development, a cross-section of women parliamentarians spoke on the importance of the delegation's visit to the Senate.
We need greater political will from the policymakers, from the lawmakers, to be able to achieve the 35% affirmative action. And that's why we are here. Politicking has started now. And if we don't come now, before you know it, the men will take all the positions and they will leave us behind. A lot of us have done 3-4 times in the Houses of Assembly. We want to move up to the next level too. Of course. We are great planners, we are great thinkers, we are articulate, we are composed, we are focused, we are mothers. We want to grow Nigerian nation. We are not interested in corruption or destruction. We want to grow Nigerian nation. And that is why the conference of all Nigerian female state parliamentarians are here to let the Senate President know our mind.
We are a very strong group advocating for inclusion of women in elective and appointive positions in the country. You will agree with me that the diminishing effect of women participation in politics is even affecting the growth and development of Nigeria. And until women, there is a deliberate attempt by those policymakers or those who are in charge to make sure that women are given, are allowed, given free hands, free playing ground to contest and win election, and we have equal number of women and men in decision making. We will not improve in this slow pace of development of Nigeria.
The Federal High Court in Lagos has dismissed a no-case submission made by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dele Belgore, in a money laundering case brought against him and a former National Planning Minister, Abubakar Suleiman. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, accused them of money laundering. Belgore and Suleiman, through their counsel, Ebon Shofunde and Tunji Ayonjala, said the prosecution did not make out a prima facie case against them. Suleiman aligned himself with Belgore's no-case submission, urging the court to discharge and acquit him. But EFCC counsel Rotimi Oyedepo urged the court to dismiss the no-case submission, which eventually it did. The Ijaw Youth Council, IYC, has called on the federal government to drop all corruption charges against former Niger Delta leader Ekpumopolo, also known as Tampolo. In a statement signed by the IYC president, Eric Omare, the group lamented the non-implementation of the 16-point demand presented to the federal government during a meeting to stop attacks by the Niger Delta Avengers, particularly the demand for the relocation of headquarters of all companies operating in the region. IYC, while hailing President Muhammadu Buhari over the commencement of academic activities at the Maritime University, urged the federal government to mobilize contractors working at the permanent site of the university to enable them go back to the site. The Lagos State government has called on finance and account officers in all ministries, departments and agencies of the state government to adhere strictly to internal control processes. The State Accountant General and Permanent Secretary, State Treasury Office Abimbola Umara, said strict adherence to the control process would assist in checkmating sharp practices in financial management and complement the transparency culture already entrenched within the accounting systems of the state. Umar, who disclosed this in Alausa during a technical meeting with directors and the heads of account departments, said internal control are put in place so that the government activities, policies and plans would be efficiently integrated into the vision of the Lagos State government. The Senate has suspended Senator Ovie Omoagege for 90 days over his comments that the amendment to the Electoral Act 2010, which seeks to reorder the sequence of electoral polls in the general election, is targeted at President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Public Petitions had investigated Omoagege's comment based on a petition by Senator Dino Melai. The report by the committee, which was considered at the plenary, had found the lawmaker guilty despite his apology to the chamber and recommended that he be suspended for 181 legislative days. President of Senate Bukola Saraki, however, pleaded that the duration of his suspension be reduced to 90 days, which was unanimously granted by the House. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Abubakar Malami, SAM, says Nigerian government will do all within its powers to ensure the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections in 2019. The AGF, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the country is mindful of the implication of a flawed election and is willing to ensure that elections are held in a manner that will not require the intervention of foreign agencies like the International Criminal Court. Malami also expressed Nigeria's concerns over the ICC's decision to continue to entertain 8 cases relating to it and in connection with its handling of the problem of terrorism in the country. The Kwara State Vigilante Group of Nigeria, VGN, has pledged to join forces with other security agencies in the efforts to fight crime in the state. VGN Commandant Abdul Rahim Jimo, who disclosed this to journalists in Ilorin, urged the police and other security agents to always carry the VGN officers along while deliberating on security matters. He also disclosed that the VGN are closer to the society because people relate with them anytime suspicious movement is noticed around them. Now, an appeal has been made to the Lagos State government to double its efforts in maintaining effective cleanliness of the state. A cross-section of Lagos State residents who made the appeal in an interview with Superscreen television tasked Governor Akinwumi Ambode to live up to the record of the previous administration of Babatunde Ramola. Details in this report. A trip around Lagos metropolis shows how filthy the state has become since the withdrawal of the private sector participants, PSP, owing to the waste orchestrated by disagreement over the Cleaner Lagos initiative, a development that led to gaps in service delivery. Today, there are heaps of waste on roads, streets, junctions, marketplaces, and other available spaces in different neighborhoods in Lagos State. Reacting on this development, these residents attributed the cause to poor waste management by Visionscape and charged the Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode to immediate and improve on the situation by adopting the way of the previous administration.
Lagos State is not a good place to talk of when it comes to cleanliness. And judging by what it used to be, especially during the time of the past administration, Lagos seems to be cleaner than what it is now. And we thought this government would have improved on what was there before. But the reverse is the case.
In terms of cleanliness in Lagos, I think Governor Ambode needs to do a very tough job. They said we're using Cleaner Lagos, which I thought Cleaner Lagos, they don't have enough equipment to serve the Lagosian very well.
Look at this place. They started from throwing just a nylon, but due to the fact that when people see that they are throwing just a nylon there, they started bringing their own dustbin there and throw it there, quite disturbing everywhere. What to say the facts in terms of cleanliness is not well managed.
Cleanliness in Lagos State is not okay at all, but we are begging everybody to help us about the cleanliness of Lagos State.
You will recall that in February 2017, Governor Akinwumi Ambode signed into law a policy on the Environmental Management, Protection and Sustainable Development Bill 2017, which suspended the state's agreement with PSP, where it transferred the management of the state waste to Visionscape Group, a foreign environmental sanitation management company. Today, all pointers shows Visionscape is not living up to their promise of efficient delivery. With the latest development, where both parties end their war by virtue of court order for negotiations, there is an agreement in place between both parties, as they promise to work together. The resident insists that it is paramount for the state to maintain the cleanliness seen during the last administration of Babatunde Fashola.
When they were handling the debts of Lagos, everywhere was okay. If you look around now, you see debts right in front of the market, even in between the market. So to me, what I feel is that if they bring back Loma and PSP, everything would go back the way it used to be. Where we have a lorry there, that Loma used to park there, and everything is good.
They would have included the cart pushers, probably to organize them, register them, and have a system that will manage that particular sector. Because there are some areas in Lagos that are not accessible to Loma vehicles.
If they bring back Loma and the PSP, everywhere will be okay. Now, the last time they said they don't want the cart pushers in Lagos. Now, cart pushers are the people that are helping Lagosian to clean their environment.
We paid for the Loma every month, and they came, they took the dustbin, they took the dirty away. So what I can say is that the house that does not pay or does not have this bin bucket, I believe that they are the people responsible for putting dustbin there. That's my own belief, and that's what they should act on. Who are the people? Who are the house that they are not paying those Loma? And that's the only solution they can do they can find to this dustbin issue.
Worthy of note is that the resolution of both parties to work together will see PSP referred to as the waste collection operators and will be paid for their services, while Visionscape Sanitation Solution will work on developing infrastructure that will facilitate effective integrated waste management system. Court documents filed by the U.S. banking giant JP Morgan Chase Bank has revealed the Nigerian officials who authorized payments of $875 million to accounts linked to a former Nigerian oil minister and a fraudulent Malabo oil deal. The details are contained in a fresh claim filed by the bank to counter the massive claim for damages filed by the Nigerian government in 2017. Those named to have been authorized payments which were made in 2011 are Yerima Ngama, at the time the Minister of State for Finance, and Otunla Aguni, then Accountant General of the Federation. The two others named as authorized signatories at the time were Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, Danladi Kifasi, and the Director of Funds at the Office of the Accountant, Babayo Sheo. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has appealed to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu to reverse recent increase in the tuition fees in state-owned institutions in the state. NAN's National Public Relations Officer, Mr. Besman Okerafo, said in a statement on Thursday in Enugu State that the reversal becomes necessary in the interest of a teeming indigent students. He said the recent increase in the tuition fees is alarming and beyond normal situation, adding that the development would be inimical to educational development of the state. Okerafo said students had been paying between 25 and 30,000 naira, but noted that the fees had been increased to 120,000 and 180,000 respectively in state-owned institutions. He urged the governor to address the situation in a way that will favor both parties involved. Nigeria is partnering Ghana to curb activities of criminal and cocaine trafficking. Program coordinator of the United Nations on Drugs and Crime, Marco Texera, made this known during a meeting between delegates of the two countries in Abuja.
This second meeting is being held after the initial meeting that was held in Ghana in the end of February, where both countries and both delegations agreed on intensifying the cooperation in concrete case basis that touch common points of both countries, or criminal networks operating in both countries. In terms of context, this is part of the efforts that both Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Narcotic Control Board from Ghana, and Ghana Police Services, the Criminal Investigation Department, are doing to curb the threats associated with drug trafficking that affects both countries. It was decided by both delegations that the responses could not be a pure national-led responses, but should be based in the common efforts between the two countries and the three organizations or institutions present in here.
On the spot, NDLEA Director of Operations, Olugbenga, said the alliance of both countries is a move to address a common threat, just as other stakeholders vow to make the collaborations work.
We have a lot to share with our colleagues from Ghana, and we are determined to narrow the space for the criminal. Because if we cooperate, there will be the criminals that will want to avoid Nigeria to go to Ghana will be checked. Criminals that want to escape from Ghana and come to Nigeria will be checked, because we will be exchanging intelligence and we will also be having joint efforts to thwart their activities.
We want to make our sub-region a safer place. And you know, the criminals work with cooperation and networking, and to overcome them, you must also work in the same manner and procedure. Drugs actually are the main fuel to a lot of criminal activities in the world over. Talk of terrorism, arms deal, and all the crimes have elements of drugs in it, because of the fast means of making money in the drug trade. So what we're going to do, and what we started doing in our main meeting here, is to make strong the collaboration between Ghana and Nigeria with the help of UNODC to make sure we fight these criminals, preventing them from gaining from their drug trade, and to make our world a safer place.
It is funded by the European Union and implemented by the United Nations on Drugs and Crime in preventing criminals from gaining transnational ground in the world. Non-private medical institutions operating in Nigeria has been urged to review their high services charges so that most Nigerians can afford them. This appeal was made by the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, during a courtesy visit by officials of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. The First Lady, who observed that many Nigerians who do not have access to public health services resort to private hospitals, said the bill is very expensive and has implications on not just the patients but on the nation's health indices. She also solicited for better working conditions for the practitioners so that patients are encouraged to remain in Nigeria for treatment. You're watching Superscreen News at 6. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take some business stories. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now for some business stories. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, says its committee must not continue to hold the country to ransom by their apparent refusal to submit their budget proposal. This revelation is coming more than 5 months after the 2018 budget was presented to a joint session of the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari. Saraki said he had no option than to openly name the subcommittees to ensure the needful is done in the interest of the country. He also mandated the committees to ensure that their reports are submitted to the Senate Appropriation Committee before Friday. The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) says the Nigeria's Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, rose by 13.34% in March 2018. According to reports, the Bureau said the 13.34% rate for March is 0.99 percentage point less than the 14.33% recorded in February. Reports also confirmed that March made it the 14th consecutive month the country would be experiencing slowdown in inflation. Still talking business, report says Nigeria's debt service cost and refinancing risk will rise with issuance of €2.5 billion bond in the first quarter. Fitch Ratings, who disclosed this, said borrowing in foreign currency in international markets also exposed sovereigns to foreign exchange refinancing risk and a potentially higher debt cost domestic. It also said weak public finance management could increase the challenge of transitioning from conventional to commercial funding. The Flour Milling Association of Nigeria, FMAN, made up of Dangote Flour Mills of Nigeria, Honeywell Flour, DeFil, and Live Flour, has donated 50 units of multi-crop threshing machine worth over 70 million naira to wheat farmers in the country. The group managing director of Dangote Flour Mills, Tabo Mabe, who disclosed this at the presentation of the machines in Lagos, said the equipment will deepen mechanized farming and wheat production, increase volume of wheat produced, and reduce the cost of waste in the market. The chairman, Flour Milling Association of Nigeria, John Comantros, who was represented by the group managing director, Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC, Bo Begede, also said the presentation is a demonstration of the association's commitment to continuously supporting wheat farmers and federal government's agricultural promotion agenda. Now, there was confusion among stockbrokers following conflicting signals from the capital market authorities on the status of trading in the shares of Wando PLC. Report says the security agencies and the Securities and Exchange Commission had issued a directive that the technical suspension on the shares of Wando PLC be lifted 3 days ago, to the effect that the regular price movement resumed on the shares by yesterday. However, the stockbrokers were stopped by the Nigerian Stock Exchange from effecting the directive midway into trading, indicating that the exchange had reversed its earlier position on the lifting of the suspension. A letter indicated to the NSE's earlier position showed the NSE had notified Ayotola Jagun, the company secretary, of the resumption of normal trading activities on Wando shares. Market sources, however, confirmed that the shares of Wando PLC remained suspended, though no further reason was given for the continuous placing of the company's shares. We'll take a break now. When we return, it'll be time for some foreign news and some sports stories. Stay with us.